All right, grab your favorite mug. It's time for coffee with your retirement coach.
Welcome back to Coffee with Your Retirement Coach. We can say that now.
We can say it.
We're in.
We're in. We did it. We started it. It felt like a win to me.
Absolutely. Seeing it on iTunes. Come
Right.
on.
iHeartRadio,
Amazon Music.
Spotify, wherever you're joining us from. We're super excited that you are here. Super. You see what I did there?
I like it. I like it.
Our coaches today, Randy and Nick, are with us from Yeoman's Consulting Group in Marietta, Georgia. I'm Aaron, and we want to take the time today to talk about the fact that when we look at these guys that are going to take the field on Sunday, they've worked really hard. They had a plan. They had good people around them. And this weekend didn't just happen for any of them.
No,
it started a long, long time ago.
You know, Aaron, when we started thinking about, our company and what it is that we do, and Nick says we do what others don't, which I kind of like that too.
Absolutely.
But a lot of what we do is really, it's coaching. It's really helping people maximize what they've already done. These athletes that are in the Super Bowl playing in the NFL, they've got some talent already. Really, how much of sports have we learned over the years is in your head? And if you watch the playoffs, man, you saw some really interesting head games going on. My poor Lions were really close.
Really close. Really close. And Randy, to that point, all three of us have coached at the firm, but we've also coached either ball or some sort of sports. And we know that we say a lot.
Yeah.
But we all have one or two things that a coach said to us. He probably came straight from work, maybe threw on a clean shirt, who knows, and then came out to give of his time. And he's just doing his best, and something profound stuck with us. And if you're listening, you're probably in that same position. There was a teacher or a coach that, meaning to or not, they said something that just clung. Nick, do you have anything like that?
Well, I really do.
I know you do.
Well, I've had so many coaches, both in my, athletic, career, but also in business, and very fortunate to have so many people speak into me. But one particular coach that really gave me life-changing conversation was Coach Brian Haig, who was my high school wrestling coach. And Coach Haig, he's a legend, number one. He's an absolute legend. But there was one particular time in my wrestling career where I made a mistake. Okay. I missed weight. So in all of the seasons, I started wrestling when I was like 7 or 8 or something. Okay. For all the seasons, I missed weight one time. Okay. And so Coach Haig comes to me in the locker room and says, what happened, et cetera. And gave me the look. Might have been some physical violence. Can't remember. I blacked out. But he said, what happened? And I start giving him all of these excuses and all of the, whys and all that kind of stuff. And he looks at me and he says the words that forever changed my life.
Yeah.
He said, Yeomans, if you win, it's your fault. If you lose, it's your fault. But no matter what, it's your fault.
Man.
So if you missed weight,
it's my fault.
Amen.
Ownership and accountability.
Yeah.
Randy, what about you? Anything stick?
I think about the fact that Nick and I have an expression, beware of the coach that doesn't have a coach. So you look at the best athletes in the world, even in sports like, golf or whatever it might be that aren't traditional team sports. These guys have a coach.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that resonated with Nick and I, because coaches did have a great impact. I actually had a coach who recently passed away that was just, he was tough, but man, was he respected.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about, people who are disciplined in their life. You can follow them because they're doing it. It's a different environment. And, as we think about all that goes into making the NFL, you just don't show up.
No.
Right? There's a lot that went into that. And then all of these unbelievable quarterbacks today. Like, I just can't imagine some of the things that these guys are doing, and watching them throw a ball through what seems like an impossible position, falling or whatever, and hit somebody 40 yards down in just the right spot with two men covering. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen without some discipline, without some practice. And, anyway, so that's, I'm thinking about this. I know we're having fun today. This is a combination of practical advice, but really just enjoying this time of year, just enjoying this, leading to the top. And, Nick, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think people need more discipline?
I've heard a coach once say, you are already fully disciplined. You don't need more discipline. You need to change your discipline and form new habits.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think that was a real aha for me. Like, because people say, I just need to be more disciplined. And I remember one of my coaches saying, you're already fully disciplined. And I thought, well, I'm not fully disciplined. Yeah, you are. If you're late, you're always late. If you overeat, you always overeat. Right. You're totally disciplined and sleeping in. So whatever that might be, and what you really need to do is new habits. And we do some stuff in the office where we'll take a book and we'll dissect it and share it with the team, and everybody take a chapter. And this one, what book are we doing this?
Yeah, we're dissecting one of my favorite reads of 2023. It was a book called Atomic Habits. And so inside our firm right now, we have, as a part of our upcoming team training day, all of our different team members, they have a chapter assigned where they're going to break it down and we're going to discuss it as a team. But if you have not read the book Atomic Habits, let me tell you something. That is a game changer. That is a real life. It will get in your head. It'll get you to think different. It'll challenge your beliefs, but really it also gives you a lot of tools to succeed in changing some of those habits and disciplines. I can't say enough. That's a great book.
Well, and I love that approach that y'all take, because for me to get the information for myself, that's one thing. But if I'm going to take on the next level of it, I'm going to teach this to someone, I'm going to be accountable to, hey, I'm going to take this in and then give it back out. There's there's a higher level of, intensity and care that you take. And we do, there's great things that come out of these exercises.
Yeah. Well, thinking about the big game coming up, right? The Super Bowl, right? So we've got the 49ers, which my wife, Suzette, she's from Northern California. She's a Niners fan. Of my 3 daughters, she converted my oldest. So she's got her Niners gear.
Yeah.
And she was rooting hard for the Niners, right? And then you've got Kansas City. And of course, you've got the guy whose name starts with a K that a lot of people can't say. What is that again?
Are you talking about Tay-Tay's boyfriend?
Tay-Tay's boyfriend.
That's who I'm rooting for.
Yeah. So we've got Taylor Swift on the she's not on the team. She's supporting the team.
She was wearing a jersey. I don't know.
She's a fundraiser.
She is.
There you go.
Yes, yeah. So we've got these 2 fantastic teams. 2 unbelievable quarterbacks. The 49ers quarterback, he's like the 3rd youngest to ever play, right? Like in the Super Bowl.
Does he shave?
I don't think it matters with the contract he's getting after this season.
Oh, my gosh.
But, you look at these 2 teams. Now, they had to beat so many talented teams to get to where they are, to get to the big dance, right? To get to the big game. They had to, and it's not that these other teams were pushovers. I mean, we had some close games I could not believe.
They had to tame some lions.
The 49ers end. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
But it's not by happenstance.
No.
The discipline, the fortitude, it's everything that went into it. But here's the deal. Before the game, they've had practices, right? They've had all of the mental preparation. They've had the good nutrition. They've had the workouts. They've done all the things. Then they come together, and the coach brings out the playbook.
Yeah. So, Nick, we have fun with this, And I'm thinking about, the championship and how much fun this weekend's going to be. But in reality, everybody can win. This isn't, only one person wins.
Yeah.
In our industry, what we want to do is help everybody win. Everybody who's willing to do certain things. But what's interesting about the career that we've chosen, and you think about football, and I've watched the rules change in my life. I mean, it's a different game today, probably a safer game in many ways than that. But in our game, they're constantly changing the rules. Can you imagine that every year or every 4 years the rules change and you have to adjust your game?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very different thing. And I think one of the things that, I think about when I compare what it is that we do, our version of coaching and helping, family teams win, if you will, is really identifying what is a win.
Yeah.
Like, what are they trying to win? What does that look like? Because I'm going to tell you, it's great to accumulate wealth, and we enjoy working with a lot of our more affluent clients and some of the amazing things that they can do for their family and for charitable organizations and et cetera. But really, there are people who are wealthy and miserable and wealthy and happy.
Yeah.
So really identify what is that win. And I think that not enough time is spent helping people identify what it is that they want, and then helping them get there.
Yeah.
We make some assumptions. And I think one of the great things a coach can do is help you maximize or optimize what you've already brought to the table in talent.
Yeah.
When I think about, tying into that, Randy, like the playbook, if, Kansas City's playbook, you can't just take that and give that to the Niners and say, hey, run these plays.
I heard they'd like to have it.
Yeah. I'm sure they would. But the 49ers, their makeup of wide receivers and backs behind the field, I mean, like, it's a different game, or a different team. And so they're not going to run the same plays. They have their own desired results, right? Their own dynamic.
That's great. I mean, that's the reality. The reality is everybody doesn't come to the table with the same stuff. Not in the same industry, not in the same career. Not everybody can run. Not everybody can catch. Not everybody can quarterback. I mean, that's really an unbelievable position. And when I think about sports, I think the catcher and the pitcher are such unique positions in baseball, and the goalie in hockey. I mean, just some of and the quarterback in football.
Yeah.
It's just such a unique position that you happen to be in.
Well, and it's neat how people can find success. Some of them can really throw far.
Yes.
Some of them can run, and it's very rare that there's quarterbacks that can throw really, really far and run the ball, but the thing about it is no matter what you're good at, if you've got the right support around you, if you've got the right plays in the playbook, you can find success.
Yeah, and Randy and I have, I know both for years used this term, winners win.
Oh, I love it.
Winners win. And there's a quarterback that was so unbelievable in college. Unbelievable. He goes to the NFL.
Ouch.
You already know where I'm going.
Don't go
You
there.
already know where I'm going.
Do not go there.
He is he's outstanding because here's what he does. He was put in a backup position. The starting quarterback gets hurt, and next thing you know, this guy is leading the way to the playoffs, right? Does phenomenal job. But according to all the scouting reports and how the NFL, scoring system works and ranks and all this kind of stuff, they say this guy really is not NFL material. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I do.
Tim Tebow. Mm-hmm. The guy knew how to win a game.
Yeah.
He'd take punt. Was he the best thrower? No. Was he the best? No. But man, if he knew what needed to happen, somehow he just found a way to make it happen. But what he needed was a game plan, and he needed a coach who understood what his real giftings were, what his mindset was. Somebody who really could come alongside of him. If you married the right coach to him, you're going to have a win. And I think oftentimes when we're looking at the different teams and the different players, what we really need is that coach that can come in alongside us and say, all right, what are we working with here? What is the makeup? And if we were to translate that into our industry, what's your makeup? Is it a small business? Is it real estate? Is it 401k? Is it like what is your makeup? What's your dynamic? What's your mindset? And then here's the plays to really make the dreams, the hopes, the goals, the winners win for you. Like, this is how we can get it done.
Yeah, when I'm listening to you talk about that, first of all, I think he's a very disciplined person, like in the traditional sense. But I also think about the fact that because people have different talent, like you can win as a center, you can win as a tight end, you can win as a quarterback. You don't have to have everything. As a matter of fact, some of the best quarterbacks we've ever had were not the most talented athletes.
Sure.
It's really, when you start to think about how they find a way, it's like you were talking about Tim Tebow, how they find a way to win, it's really interesting because it is mindset. As a matter of fact, most of life is our belief system. I really think that one of the reasons that some folks can have very little in terms of wages and all that and end up coming incredibly well off is because of what they did in the way of how they handled their money and what they believed and what they thought. And so there's a lot of ways to win, and there's a lot of opportunities to win. And really, in our society today, I think we sometimes look at the wrong thing. We look at only the Super Bowl. But, really, to get to play in the NFL, that's a win.
Oh, man, because it's such rarefied air. I mean, like when you look at the numbers from the kids that play, in the rec leagues to translating to high school, to college, to NFL, I mean, that the tapering off the attrition level, it's insane. So just the fact that you got to suit up and take the field.
Aaron, what I think is maybe one of the defining things that a lot of these uber talented, because I mean, the degree of separation between somebody who makes it to the NFL and doesn't, many times, I mean, it's a 1% kind of change.
Yeah.
But you know what I think so many of these elite athletes have is the love of the game.
Yeah, that's good. That's
good. They're in it to win, but really they love the game. They love the position. They love the teamwork. They love being a part of the coaching. They love the game. And when you start losing that, I think that's when you start seeing injuries. You start seeing people quit. I mean, it's like they aren't as sharp anymore, but there are so many people that we can look at. They really love the game.
Yeah.
I think about even Atlanta's own Deion Sanders.
Oh, man.
I mean, what an
unbelievable
athlete.
It really is unbelievable. So, Aaron, what's your thoughts?
I'm always blown away by the fact that grown men are going to cry if they win. They're going to cry if they lose. If they get asked, they're headed to Disney World if they just won, or Disneyland. It's so intense. And in our personal lives, what are those? And I think we've kind of already touched on it. What's a win for us? What are those moments that we're going for? And then how do we enjoy those moments? And then what happens after those moments? Yeah. One of the things that I can't help but shake is, getting to hang out with you guys. We watch men and women that have just lived exciting lives, had incredible careers. They're ready to stop and take a break. But if they retire to nothing,
yes,
it doesn't look good quickly.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, if you look at an athlete who doesn't have something to do after they've made it all the way to the NFL, or if they've been in the Super Bowl, I would give a lot to their life expectancy. I mean, they really have to have something to look forward to. There's been research on this. Dennis Waitley, I won't go into all the details of it, but worked on the psychology of winning a lot. And he said, let's say that you become an astronaut and you go to the moon. Then what?
Yeah.
And so there is some really interesting thing. And you know what? I really like people, being able to talk to people who are really wanting to win for themselves and their family. But that transition from the first half to the second half, the first half, a lot of work, a lot of energy and all that. And, I get to thinking about that. Can you be losing in the first half and still win?
Yeah. I love that question. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Now, your path might look different. The plays might look different. There might be a few, trick plays in there to get it done, but you can still determine a path. You can still determine the outcome. But, Randy, so many people won't win that second half after losing the first half.
I thought we weren't going to talk about the Falcons.
Ow. Man. Ow. Actually, the Falcons were winning the first half. It was that second half that killed them.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry.
It can go both ways.
Well, no, not all the time.
Not all the time, yeah.
But, so what is a win? What are we looking to do? I think first of all, you got to love the game.
Yeah.
You got to love the game. I mean, win or lose, you got to love the game. Winners win. But sometimes it really does take a great coach to pull that out. And, I love the fact that so many good athletes, they always look back. And I've always said there's three great professions: teaching, preaching, and coaching. I mean, you talk about influence. Man. You talk about influence on society and life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. A good one, like we've all seen the coach that's just horrible with the little kids. I mean, I've seen some baseball coaches coaching Little League that really, you can't hit people in public, but man, they need it, But I mean, and then you've got the other, you and I have witnessed like a good coach. One of the things I think that I remember having coached myself is you got to remember they're kids and it's got to be fun.
Yeah.
If you want them to come back next year and not burn out, it's got to be fun. And so, for us, as an office, it's fun helping people win.
Oh, absolutely.
When somebody comes in, because not everybody's going to come in and get coached. Not everybody's going to come in and do the uncomfortable things, do the things that, only winners do.
Yeah.
But man, when you get to work with a family that is motivated and a lot of them, what's cool is not only do they want to win, they want to help their kids win. They want to, help their grandkids win. And of course, some of them want to skip their kids and go right to the grandkids, but that's a story for another day. But, helping people who come in with that kind of attitude, this is a review week for me, and I've got a lot of our really great clients coming in. And today, Monday, people don't look forward to Monday and that. I had some great appointments this week.
Wow.
And really, people who are excited about their future and that. And man, that gets me going. That is just a great way to start the week.
Well, and doing a thing with the end in mind is what's so important. I had a client last week that we're in the early stages of helping them to really consolidate. They've got a lot of great assets, but they're all over the place. They need to get consolidated. They need to have a better idea that their allocation is correct. Just as we would say, make sure all their buckets are lined up and filled. And they were like, I'm already just overwhelmed and sick of this. And you guys just seem fired up. I don't know how you do what you do. And it said, well, we've already done this. And we know that a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to have more peace. You're going to have a better excitement about your direction. And I have to remember that while we're on hold with your former custodian and asking them questions.
Well, but Aaron, what you're bringing up is, I think a great point. If you have the right coach, you can see that, okay, this quarterback moves like this. They throw the ball like this. This is how they're going to win.
Yeah.
And I've worked with quarterbacks just like that before. So I already know
the potential,
the potential and the path for them to take based on who they are and what they're trying to accomplish. And it's the same thing in our industry. I mean, meeting with people, it's not that they don't have different family makeups and dynamics and, different goals and wishes and dreams, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of commonalities and there's a lot of landmines and dangers and retirement accounts and things like that we already know how to help someone skillfully avoid the dangers.
Yeah.
And really take advantage of the opportunities. So it's like if you've got the right coach in your corner, they can really help guide you so that it's not it might be really, really overwhelming for you, but for the right coach to come alongside you, I've been down this road before.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do.
And, as self-serving as this might sound, who really loves this? The coach.
Yeah.
Man, if you've got a great coach, if you get to help, whether it's little kids, or young athletes or people moving into retirement, and you get to help them get a win.
Yeah.
And, look at the opportunity, look past all the obstacles and all that, because like you said, Nick, you've coached before, you've been down there before. And for a lot of people, stepping up their game, going from college to the NFL or go to the Super Bowl, a lot of people, it's their first time, only time. They got that one chance. And if you've got the right person in your corner doing that,
Yeah.
and, so we're certainly not the only ones that do this. But I'm telling you what, as a coach, as somebody who loves to do this, it is a lot of fun to help people win. It's a lot of fun to help people see a path to a victory and identify what that looks like. It's just
it's to tell the widow that she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's to tell the brand new grandparent that yes, you can have an amazing impact on that new grandchild. It's to tell the parents that yes, you can afford to go ahead and retire early and move to be closer to family. Yes, you can travel to all those places that you said, someday, honey, I'd love to travel there. One day, honey, wouldn't it be fun to go visit XYZ? Yeah. And then to be able to help someone say, that someday is today.
Yes. Today
you can do it today.
That's right.
Today.
And, I've had this conversation, ironically, twice today, where somebody was looking at doing some things and was struggling whether they should do it or not because it doesn't feel right. So when you spent your entire life accumulating wealth and now you're at a phase so that if you ever got here, you'd be able to use it, it doesn't feel right or comfortable to make withdrawals, to do all those things you said you wanted to do. It's almost like I need permission to proceed. And so I've had some great stories about clients who've had victory in this area and recognize that they can spend their money and be prudent at the same time. And I think sometimes people just need to know, what's the path? How can I do it? I need a map. Somebody give me some guidance in that. Because really, whether you're coaching like we do or in the NFL, the person coming to the table, the client that comes in to see us, or that college player that made it up to the NFL, they're bringing the talent already. It's nothing we did. We didn't do it. The coach didn't do it. That person did all of the discipline, whether it was living below their means or whether it was putting in the extra wind sprints,
right,
going to the gym after practice or whatever it might be. They did all the work. We just get the glory of being able to work with people, sit down with them, help them have a plan and a path for the talent that they brought to the table. And it's very rewarding.
Well, and
I got to say, I think if you are a coach and you love coaching, I think that in your heart of hearts, the fulfillment you get if you are leading a team to the Super Bowl and winning that championship, I think it is, by the way, I'm going to preface this with go Dogs, but Nick Saban, who is coaching Alabama for, just retired, but what a legend that I don't like him. But what a legend that guy is. But, he had, I bet you, a very similar feeling as a coach to have all of those incredible victories at the national championship level. And then you look at the high school coaches leading their teams to victory, and then the elementary and middle school coaches. And Randy, I just had this happen today. And so those of you who don't know, I've been coaching middle school wrestling for the last several years. I had a parent send me a message today that made my whole season worth it. There was a kid, so 8th grade, and not the strongest kid on the team. He very, very new, like he had a very little bit of experience. And beginning of the season, I saw he was getting discouraged, because again, not the strongest, it doesn't have the most skill. Man, I just made it a point to really just speak life into this kid. Man, your practice today was better than last week. I don't know what you did over the weekend, but you practiced today even better. And then, he had a string of losses. I don't know if it was like 6 straight losses, 7 straight. I mean, it was like a lot of losses. And I said, man, I know you lost this time, but did you see you had 2 takedowns? You didn't have any takedowns in the last, match. Now you had 2. That's a win, buddy. That's success. That's your victory today. And then fast forward to his actual victory where he wins a match. Well, there are a lot of matches where he had losses. And then he had small wins, and the smaller wins became bigger wins. And at the end of the season, he has 3 or 4 wins, like back to back to back. And he ends at the Cobb County Championship, right, of the local town we're in here. And he has an amazing string of victory.
Wow.
And this is a kid that I thought for a split second might leave the team. He was it was on his face. The parent sent me a message, said that her and her husband had a powwow with him over the weekend. Like, what do you want your sports to look like in high school when you go into high school next year? And he said, my objective, he said, I finished the season really strong, and I love wrestling. I want to make the JV wrestling team. That's my goal. And she said, here's what made it a victory for me. She loved that I spoke life into her kid.
Yeah.
And I gave him the eyes to be able to see the victory.
Yeah.
And
So good.
man, I might as well have coached the Super Bowl winning team because, man, like that was worth my entire season.
Yeah. It is an incredible thing. The honor to be able to be a coach, to be able to do things that you love and are passionate about and help people have victories. And, man, congratulations on that. That is really good. And I look back because like you, I got to coach, middle school wrestling, junior high wrestling. And now I look back and there's about 5 or 6 kids that went through our junior program that are now coaching or have coached high school wrestling. Yeah. And just see them out there. And one of them in particular, I won't name him, but he was such a great kid. And at the end of the season, every year he wrote me a letter. And, I could tell you, I know exactly what you're feeling. But that is that widow coming and hugging you. That is that guy that sold his business that says, there's no way I could have done it without you. And we know that really what's happening here is that kid didn't quit. And that business owner didn't quit. Like they did it all. All we do is we get the victory because we help them take that next step into an area that they haven't had experience in. And so, it's just a great thing to do. Sports, I think, are a great way of looking at life. All of the challenges, all of the obstacles, not every day's a win. You get hurt, you get injured, things don't go the way you planned. A matter of fact, normal is things don't go the way you planned. What do you do about that? Maybe you're losing the first half and you come back and win anyway. But it takes courage to make that transition and decide to win anyway. Maybe, you've gone through something really traumatic, maybe a disease, maybe a loss of a spouse, maybe all kinds of things that could occur in your life. And you decide, you know what, I'm going to win anyway. And so I think, when we talked about things that are crazy in the marketplace and we talk about, how we manage money and some of the things that we do, tax evaluations and all that kind of stuff, we know that things are going to be obstacles, and what you can do is you can do one of two things. You can concentrate on the obstacles, worry and whine about the obstacles, or you can find a way to win. And our job as coaches, as consultants in the industry in which we work, is to find the opportunities. It's always going to be obstacles. But if we concentrate on the obstacles, we're not going to help people win. Yeah. We've got to find a way to win no matter what it is. If they change the playbook, we've got to win. If they change who we're playing, we've got to win. So winning,
so good.
Winning is just, it's a way of believing. It's a way of living your life. We get to do it in an industry that we love and have passion about. But I got to tell you, the experience of being in athletics, being coached by good coaches, man, that set the stage for the way we run our business and why we're excited about what we do.
For sure. As your retirement coach, I think about, the collaborative process and even looking at relaying this to sports and really wanting to win. Here's the deal. The head coach needs the offensive coordinator. Yeah. They need the defensive coordinator. They need the quarterback coach. They need, the sideline. They need, that team. And when, we can come along as a coach and coordinate with the CPA and coordinate with the attorney and coordinate with the insurance person and coordinate with the real estate person and you build the right team, it makes winning a whole lot easier when you've got the right team in place, right?
Well, you've got these guys on the field, and they take timeouts, and they go into the locker room at the break, and what are they doing? They're making adjustments.
Yeah.
you still have the same players on the field. You still have the same talent. You're still pulling. I mean, you're going to sub players in and out. You're going to make those, but it's also the ability to be coachable, to accept, opportunities to make a change. I love what you guys said. Basically, whenever a coach identifies a resource or a talent and then just basically shines a light on an opportunity, there's nothing different than that feeling. My son was walking down the hall at the high school, and up until now, he's been a swimmer and a runner. And the football coach looked at him and, Calhoun, you ever thought about playing football? No, sir. Well, can you catch? I don't know. Can you run? He's like, yeah, you don't really have the body of a runner. What do you do? He's like, I run cross country. He goes, He's like, I think you need to come work out with us. And he went, and the coach absolutely pulverized him. And again, I don't know if anything will come of it, but the fact that he took that time and opened that door and finding the ways to connect people with opportunities.
Well, I'm just going to say something, Aaron. First of all, smart coach, because how old's your son?
He's a freshman. He'll be 15 this year.
And how big is he?
He's just over 6 foot.
Yeah. So he's a big boy.
Aaron's
Aaron's like 6'4", and we get him to lift the stuff off of the top shelf. I mean, really identifying that, it is great to watch that happen, especially, you got the emotional connection with your son. And he sees your son's already, paying a price in other sports.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah.
Dude, this was just a great session. I know it wasn't a typical financial show and that, but anticipation for the Super Bowl and what's going on, and letting us think and reflect about winning and what a win is, and first half, second half, being able to make an audible and change the game when you need to. It's a lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed it. We enjoy talking about this kind of stuff. And Aaron, thanks for putting this together for us.
Yeah, for sure. I tell you, one, I'm predicting the 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my prediction.
Yeah.
Tay might cry a little bit.
She'll write a song about it.
That's right.
I don't know, Nick. I don't know. You need to go ahead and get something for your spouse just in case. Because
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm cooking meat, so we're good. But it is fun to reflect on just, coaching and helping people win, and just man, it is powerful to just reflect sometimes. A lot of these episodes we have coming up here, I mean, there's a lot of practical application, and we're going to talk a lot about, things that people can do to either avoid, disasters and mistakes, or really, capitalize on some opportunities. But I really just enjoyed having a fireside almost chat, with you guys today.
Yeah.
Well, no matter what we're doing, I think the thing that I would identify from today, as we reflected on how much fun this weekend's going to be and what's going on, is, attitude, belief system, having a plan, put it together in every area of your life, because winners
Win.
There you go.
Winners win. Well, you heard from us. Now we need to hear from you. Email us at connect@yourretirementcoach.com. Share with us some of those things your coach said inspirationally to you that stuck. Whatever it is, we'd love to hear from you. We hope you enjoyed today's show, but you may have questions for our coaches, and they can be emailed at connect@yourretirementcoach.com. If you know someone that needs to hear this episode, we encourage you to share it. As a reminder, the content of this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as advice. On behalf of our coaches, we want to thank you for listening and for being coachable.
Yeoman's Consulting Group, a registered investment advisor YouTube channel based in Marietta, Georgia. We strive to provide comprehensive wealth management services for every stage of the journey. This platform is solely for informational purposes and is not offering advisory services or sales of securities. Investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Comments by viewers or recognitions are no guarantee of future investment outcomes and do not ensure that a viewer will experience a higher level of performance or results. Public comments posted on this site are not selected, amended, deleted, or sorted in any way. If applicable, certain editing of personal, identifiable information and misinformation may be deleted. The opinions expressed herein are as of the date of publication and are subject to revision due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass.